So I figured I'd share some D&D stories. This is the story. I was still new to D&D. It was 3.5. This was a good 13 years ago. And I had made a human sorcerer because I liked the idea of being in the back line, planning things out, and thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead and using my magic in the best way possible. But I was new to D&D, new to the rules. So my DM gave me an elven war dog that he would control. This gave it a level of autonomy separate from me that made it feel more like its own creature. It also meant the DM could use it to protect me if I really messed up or overextended myself. So we're trying as a group to get an item that the big evil wants. And he's got this army to get it for him. But we sneak into the castle past the army and we're going to get the item, and we get in there and the big bad is already grabbing the item. Now, I had already cast invisibility on me and my war dog, so I figure I'd make like a rogue. It turned out that the big bad could see me. I went to grab the item and he teleported me in front of his army, in the middle of his army, sorry, in a tent. But we're still invisible, thankfully, me and my war dog. We're alone in the middle of this giant army that's laying siege to this castle. So I'm whispering to my war dog, don't attack anyone. It'll make you appear, it'll kill us both. I know we usually attack the bad guys. Restrain yourself. And as I'm trying to figure out a way out of this busy tent without bumping into anyone, there's a scream, and I turn around. There's my dog, visible on the ground, chewing on a guy's leg, and the guy's on the floor, missing his leg below the knee. The DM had rolled for my dog. My dog didn't want to listen to me, and my dog critically succeeded attacking one of the soldiers. So ripped his leg off below the knee. Everybody starts to panic about this dog in their midst. Now, the DM had given me a few other items to help me out, just things to fall back on, basically. But I'm looking at him like, okay, I need to get myself and my dog out of this mess. So using illusions, I make myself and my party appear in the tent, all mean and bristling with weapons and ready to fight. So the soldiers panic and stampede out of the tent because in that tent was basically me, a half-orc fighter, Kender rogue, which I didn't really know how they work at the time. My DM insists they do something called a Kender dance, or if they wiggle their hands, they'll steal everything you have on you. Can't find any proof of that rule, but he insisted it was true. But a human cleric and another human fighter. We had 2 fighters in the group, don't know why, but they made good meat shields. But yeah, so everybody panicked and stampeded out. So I'm still invisible. So what I do is I cut 2 holes in the tent, one in the east and one in the back of the tent, which was south. And then I tell my dog to go through the south one and run, get the group, and let them know where I am. Because there's just too many people in the camp for me to get out. And as odd as an elven war dog is, the camp did have other animals. People probably wouldn't think twice, or they would think twice, and it would give it time to bolt. I used, I think it was called Phantasmal Helper, to hold that southern cut closed. And I stood in front of it. So when people when people started bustling in, all they saw was the cut in the east or west side of the tent. It was one of those sides. But I had been busy after my dog left. I had a ring that could change how I looked. So I made myself look like an injured soldier. My plan was to, when people came back in, to say that I had run in hearing all the bustle and been attacked, and then the people fled. The problem was I gave myself a head injury. I took a cloth, soaked it in blood dripping out of the leg, as gruesome as that is, and held it to the back of my head, as disgusting as that was. So I looked injured, and And they all bustled in, and I passed my bluff check. So they believed I had done what I said I did. They also believed I was injured. They all bustle out the side of the tent to go after the people that did it, except for one soldier who insisted on leading me to the infirmary because I had a head injury and those can be bad. I tried to convince him that it wasn't as bad as it looked, which technically was the truth, but I failed my bluff. He thought I was trying to put on a brave face. This turned out to be the captain. So he's down, checking on the footprints in the dirt, and I realize that he's going to realize that minus his troops, not a lot of footprints went through there. And I also know he's going to realize I ain't injured. So I did a wind up and I swung at the back of his head with my staff and I missed. I rolled a 3 and I had an 11 strength. I whiffed that so hard. This allowed him to realize that I was an intruder. Surprise, surprise. So when the rest of the group finds my war dog, they realize they have to come save me for my own stupidity. Like, if I had just stayed invisible and bolted, I could have gotten out. But the other half of the plan was if I could have stayed invisible or I could have stayed as a injured guard, I could have tried to find plans or anything. But no, the whole thing just kind of fell apart. So our next session turned into a rescue mission that didn't end too well. I mean, eventually they found me. I was missing a few fingers, though, because it took them so long to actually find me. And the DM's of the belief, hey, the bad guy's going to do something. He wants to know why you appeared in his camp. So he's going to try and get the information from you. So that was fun. I was a mage that was missing a few fingers from that point on. On the upside, when we campaigned enough, he gave me the still casting feat as a free feat because I was getting used to casting without all the fingers I'd normally have for wiggling for the mumbo jumbo. But yeah, that's my first story and one of the first times I objectively screwed up at D&D. I have quite a few more that I'll be uploading. Just here and there, so keep an eye out. I hope this entertains you, and I'll talk to you all later.